As Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu prepared to meet Donald Trump, the U.S. president said he will not allow Israel to annex the Israeli-occupied West Bank. The comments came after he reportedly made such a pledge during a meeting with Arab and Muslim officials on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly in New York.
Is that something that you
I will not allow Israel to annex the West Bank. No, I will not allow it. It's not going to happen.
Did you speak with Netanyahu about this directly?
Yeah, but I'm not going to allow it. Whether I spoke to him or not, I did. But I'm not allowing Israel to annex the West Bank. There's been enough. It's time to stop now, okay?
Israeli officials have been discussing the idea of annexing parts of the West Bank in response to several Western countries recognizing a Palestinian state, while some Trump officials have signaled the U.S. wouldn't oppose the plan. An Israeli official said that Israel did not feel the warning marked an end to the discussion, and that Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will discuss it with Trump when he visits the White House. For the past 2 years, the U.S. has followed the Israeli vision and plans for the wider Middle East. It has not led, it has been led. This is why U.S. statements should be taken with caution. This is because Israel has a history of convincing U.S. decision-makers to follow the Israeli opinion. While Israel hasn't formally annexed the West Bank, it continues to expand settlements in the territory, which requires forcibly displacing Palestinians. The Trump administration has backed Israel's recent approval of the major E1 settlement, which Israeli Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich has said will erase the idea of a Palestinian state. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu reportedly asked U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio during his recent visit to Israel to pressure Egypt to reduce the number of Egyptian troops it has stationed in the Sinai. The disclosure came after Egypt deployed around 40,000 troops to the Sinai in late August to boost its military presence near the Gaza Strip border in a coordinated effort with the Israeli army ahead of Israel's expanded ground operations in Gaza. While Israel cautiously coordinated on the troop increase, Israeli officials had alleged what they viewed as more explicit Egyptian violations of the 1979 peace treaty, including expanding runways that could be used by fighter jets, building up military infrastructure in areas where only light weapons are permitted, and constructing underground facilities where missiles could be stored. Throughout the Hamas-Israel war, Egyptian officials have reiterated that any Israeli plan to forcibly displace Palestinians, which they fear would cause a mass influx of refugees into the Sinai, would be a red line. Egypt's actions come on the back of Netanyahu's Greater Israel vision, which implies expanding Israel's territories from the Nile to the Euphrates rivers. A number of Israeli officials have recently made clear that Egypt is next as Israel continues to expand its territories across the region. Israel's recent attack on Qatar has forced many of the region's rulers to recalculate their positions, after many saw normalization with Israel as the best way to shore up their regimes. But as the region is changing, so is many of the calculations of the region's leaders. The war in Ukraine has recently seen a number of escalations. Russia is believed to have jammed the GPS system of an airplane carrying the European Commission president. Then, there was the incursion of Russian attack drones into Polish territory. Recently, 3 Russian fighter jets were said to have flown 12 minutes into Estonian airspace with their transponders off. This has all put NATO on high alert and brought a NATO-Russia war ever closer. There is undoubtedly real tension between Russia and NATO. The Russians are not unaware of the role NATO countries are playing in the Ukraine war. Recently, Russia's foreign minister said that NATO is effectively fighting a war against Russia by using Ukraine. Russia has for years tested NATO by carrying out speculative operations, which are well short of provocations. But on this occasion, NATO countries have taken a conscious decision to change their stance regarding these Russian operations in Europe. Similar to how the Europeans over time changed their stance on weapons deliveries to Ukraine, they are now consciously changing the general narrative regarding Russia to justify an arms buildup inside Europe and following potentially an active engagement with boots on the ground in Ukraine. U.S. President Donald Trump's recent comments supporting European escalation makes clear the U.S. effort to play on Europe's mindset, to get them to escalate, from which the U.S. can benefit geostrategically, as it would isolate Europe from the rest of the world, leaving it totally dependent on its relationship with the U.S.